generate leads and to generate, you got to treat this like a business. This is a job and it is a business. So I have in front of you guys the top performer plan. And one of the key concepts in there, and we'll go over it in detail at another time, but one of the key concepts in there is for sale by owners. Benson, you were here Wednesday, 2 days ago, when we called for sale by owners. You saw firsthand, I called a for sale by owner, he answered. I handled his objections, I went on the appointment, he just agreed to sign a listing contract with me. So now I've got a listing. It's that easy. Now, obviously, I've gotten really good at it. Confident, I've done it, I know it, I teach it, so it's even easier. You're gonna have to do it a lot before you feel really confident and you get good like that. But I promise you, the more you do it, the better you'll get. So I want it to be a huge part of your strategy to be talking to for sale by owners or expireds or whatever. You can do whatever you want, but for sale by owners are the easiest place. They're the lowest hanging fruit. I want it to be a big part of your strategy. To be going on listing presentations, you should be really aiming for every day. If you've got nothing else going on, you should be aiming for every day to be going on listing presentations. At very least, every other day. Because you might go, I don't have any listing appointments today. Let me sit down and hustle to get some appointments for tomorrow or for later today, like I did, right? I called him, the house was vacant, it was right down the street, I went just like that, within an hour. So listing presentations need to be a big part of your plan, your top performer plan. So, and that's why we track it on the board, appointments. So let's dive into that, right? First things first, you got to make the calls. You got to make the calls. I tell you this all the time. You guys know this. For sale by owners it's not a game of volume. It's not how many for sale by owners can you call in one day. It's a game of consistency. It's 2 or 3 or 5 for sale by owners every day. Because you don't want to sit there and call for sale by owners from last week. You want to call for sale by owners from the last 24 hours. Right? That guy that I called, he was 24 hours on Zillow. He had listed on Tuesday night. And we called him Wednesday afternoon. So he had already had some calls. That's why he was hesitant when he picked up I don't even remember, I hung up on him. Which was, I don't recommend that. But he was only on for 24 hours. So you're gonna make the chances of you having a good conversation so much more likely when you do the newest ones. And so there's only a few newest ones in your area every day. So we jump on Zillow, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. 6 a little late, but 2, 3, 4 o'clock. You jump on Zillow, you draw a map where you're comfortable driving, right? St. Cloud, Orlando, Kissimmee, Poinciana, wherever. I mean, if you want to do all of Florida, do all of Florida, but I don't care. Wherever you're comfortable driving. And then you hit results, and then you hit filter, sort by newest. So make sure it's for sale by owner, sort by newest. And you're going to call as many as it takes, but you're going to talk to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 every single day. That's it. This shouldn't even take you longer than 30 minutes. It shouldn't take you longer than 30 minutes every day to make these calls. So we'll save that for another time. We've gone over it a few times. What to say, how to say it, the scripts. So what do you do when you're there? Right? That's the question. What do you do when you're there? Well, there's a couple different types of strategies. I'm going to go over not necessarily a strategy, but a structure to how you present. So the first things first, when you get to the appointment, you need to be in the right headspace, okay? You need to be pumping yourself up. You might be a little nervous, right, which is okay. You need to relax, but you need to be like, so one of the things that I like to do before I make calls or before I go on an appointment is I stand in the Superman position for 2 minutes. 2 minutes straight. Just stand like this. And you breathe. And eventually your physiology has this crazy impact on the way your, I don't even know what you call it, your hormones, your thoughts. It has this crazy impact on it. So you need to get in the right headspace. Now, when you're there, first things first, you're going to obviously come up to the house, knock on the door. I never enter the home until I'm welcomed in. So I say, hi, how's it going? And I'll stand there awkwardly and they say, come on in. And then I come in. I don't try to force my way through the door before they invite me in. Just a habit that you should use when they welcome you in. It's just, you're creating this You're creating rapport. Okay? You don't want to be intrusive. So I stand a few feet back and then they say, well, come on in. I say, okay, sounds good. I come in the house. The first thing you're going to do when you get to the house, they might say, well, hey, we could sit over here. You say, hey, how about first you take me on a tour of the home? You got to remember one thing. You need to be in control. You're 20, you're 19. You're probably meeting with someone 30, 40, 50, freaking 60, 70 years old, okay? But you still need to be in control. You need to control the conversation. You need to control the appointment. So that will take practice and confidence building, but you need to control. Have them tour you around the house. While you're on the tour of the house, you want to ask questions about the four main components. You guys know what those are? Yeah, roofing, plumbing, HVAC, electricity. Good job. Roof, plumbing, AC, and electric. Okay? Now, you also want to ask some other questions. You want to build rapport while you're on this tour. So, these are things you throw in there kind of throughout. Don't just come right off rip and go, hey, how was the roof? How was the plumbing? How was the AC? How was the electric? Let them tour you. Say, what do you like best about the house? Show me what you like best about the house. How long have you lived here? What are your goals? Where are you going? What's your time frame? You're asking them these questions during the tour because you're gathering information. That's what you're doing. You're gathering information. And you're also building rapport. Rapport is the most important thing. I got a little lucky with this guy. I mean, but I call it luck, but it's not luck. It's doing the right thing consistently. Luck is being at the right place at the right time, right? But I got a little lucky with this guy. He was a decent guy. We didn't know each other by any means, but we had mutual friends on social media. I told you I'm a little crazy. I immediately went and followed him on social media, liked a bunch of his photos, sent him a text, Anyways, so rapport is everything. So you need to find common ground. I found out he runs a business. So I started talking to him about running his business. And he runs a glass business. And so I started talking to him about one of my flip properties and how I would need glass potentially. I started talking about the office and how we'd like the glass in a conference room. And I was going, we're talking about him and his business and how it relates to me. So you need to find that common ground. As a young guy, it's going to be hard to do. As a young girl, it's going to be hard to do. But you need to find it. You need to find that place where you're building rapport. So when you're building rapport, it's about finding common ground and listening. It's so hard to listen when you're nervous. You're like, oh God, I hope I'm saying the right thing. I'm sweating. Am I sweating through my shirt? And it's like, you're a little nervous, right? And so it's hard to listen, but you need to listen. And we talked about this a little bit the other day. Mirror, the mirroring effect, right? When someone sees themselves in you, they begin to like you. So find common ground, listen, and mirror. So I usually come in very high energy into a interaction with a client. This guy on the phone, he immediately was like, the first thing he said, unless you got a buyer, don't come by, right? What did I do? I said, okay, I don't want to waste your time, hung up. He was kind of a little bit of he's a little prude to me, so I was a little prude back to him. I'm not recommending that, okay? But I'm just saying, I subconsciously I'm so used to mirroring the client, the customer, that I immediately took on, and I wasn't disrespectful or anything, and I immediately texted him and said, hey, I don't have a client, I don't want to waste your time, but I am right down the street and I would like to tour the property. Anyways, so mirroring the client. So this might mean the client might say something. The client needs to know that you're listening to them, and one way to do that is to literally repeat back to them what they said. So I'm going to ask you, Julie, what is your goal for moving? What is your goal? Where are you going? My goal for what you're asking. I'm asking you as if you're the seller. My goal is to move within 3 months. Within 3 months? Yeah. Okay. And where are you wanting to go? Down South Boca area. I love that area. I actually went there on vacation not that long ago. What two things did I just do there? I mirrored it by saying it back, by literally saying exactly what you said back to you. What else did I do? Common ground. I mean, if this is not like, it doesn't have to be, elaborate. Oh, Boca Raton. I just went there not that long ago. I love that area. Super high end. Right? I've just, like, they might say, well, where'd you go? I say, oh, I stayed at the Grand Floridian or whatever. It's like, then you start talking about Boca, right? Because you have some common ground. If you haven't, then don't. Some people are crazy. I know some salesmen who will just straight up lie. They're usually from timeshare. They'll go, oh, you have a Frenchie? I have a Frenchie. Oh, his name is George. Mine's name is George. That's so crazy, but whatever. So anyways, you can mirror them by literally repeating back to them what they said. You can also do this by saying back to them what they said in different terms, but you got to be careful with that because it's a little harder to do. For me, I like to keep it easy, and I will literally just repeat back to them what they said to me in a very like kind of fluent kind of, All right, common ground. Listen to them, and then mirror, and then last but not least, dig deep. Dig deep. So there's these surface level questions that we ask, right? I might ask you, so Julie, you said you're going to Boca Raton in the next 3 months. And I might just move on to the next question, right? Is that going deep? How about Julie, what's in Boca Raton for you? Why are you going to Boca Raton? I know it's beautiful, but what's pulling you there?
My sister just moved there.
Oh, your sister just moved there? Oh, gotcha. Okay, no, that makes sense. I'm a big family man. I have a little sister too. She just moved to Arizona, temporarily, which is crazy, but it's family. Yeah. Anyways, long story, another time. But so, what did I do? I dug deeper into the question because especially this part, this is their motivation for moving, right? Don't leave it at the surface. Find out why, because I haven't really found a great way to say this, but finding out their motivation allows you to use it against them. In a good way. But it allows you to use it against them. You need to find out why and dig deep. Dig deep and find out why. Okay, so common ground, listening, mirror, and dig deep. Now let's talk about actually presenting. Let me grab something real quick. Julie, Benson, Javier, Cleo, do you guys have one of these? Okay, go to Staples. They're like $10 or something. Go get one of these. Okay? While you're at Staples, I want you to print out. It's going to cost you like $50. I want you to print out the listing presentation, and I don't have it with me, but also the buyer's consultation presentation. You need to have this ready to go at all times. The reason why I can make a call and go on an appointment within 10 minutes is because I'm ready. You stay ready, you don't got to get ready. I'm ready, right? You guys need to be ready at all times. And you want to be a professional, you got to have some sort of presentation ready to go. Maybe it's on an iPad or maybe it's digital. I have both, right? I've got the iPad, I've got the computer, I've got the phone. I've got it digitally, in my phone. I've got a whole album full of stuff that I show people when I'm at the presentation saved in my phone. But most importantly, I have it right here ready to go. Even when I'm not ready, I'm ready. Does that make sense? Because I practice and because I have this. Important that you guys have that ready. So while presenting, number one, have laminated slides. Have the laminated slides ready to go. Number two, have digital examples ready. What do you think I mean by digital examples? My phone's recording right now, so I can't show you. But what do you think? Yes. You've been to a couple classes, so you know. Yes. I have that out. You gotta have that album in your phone that says listing presentation examples. That way you could grab it really quick anytime. And in there, and I can send you some stuff. You can just go find some stuff on the internet, like whatever, like go shoot some videos of the new construction today. Have some stuff ready to go. I was at this appointment earlier this week for the house we're going to go to today. And, I pulled out my phone and I showed them, here's how I do open houses. And I had an example video of an open house that I did where it was a wine and cheese tour. We had a bunch of people there. We had a live performance singer. We were giving away a bottle of wine. We did a video walkthrough of it. I showed them that. You think they were impressed? Yeah, they were. They signed a listing agreement, so they had to be. And then, also I have in there example of a virtually staged home versus non-virtually staged home. Had that in there. I had an example of here's what you can get for $500,000, and it's Cleo walking through a house and it has 4 million views on it. Right? I mean, but so you can say she's one of my team members and she does listing videos, or you could say this is what I will do for you as well, and so will our agents. And part of my listing presentation last week. Are you guys coming to new construction today? Okay, that's cool. Anyways, so having the examples ready to go. Have the laminated slides, have the digital examples. When you're presenting, it's important that you study this. That and you can find this on our website under the resource tab. And you know what we should do? We should have a couple of these laminated that they can buy from the shop and just have it sent to them. Anyways, so they don't have to run to Staples. So study these. You need to know these like the back of your hand, because when you're sitting there explaining these, yes, if you get lost, you could just read it word for word. Professional pictures. We see a lot of terrible pictures of homes, and our photographers are the best in the business. We also do drone photography at no cost to you. Here's our quality, here's bad quality, and you can move on. But it's important that you know what you're talking about. Internet marketing, right? Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, Realtor.com, HomeSnap, Google, Realestate.com, Coldwell Banker, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You could just say that. But what does that mean for the seller? Why does that help the seller? That's important that you know that. Virtual tours, right? What are virtual tours? How do you present this slide? We promote, right? You're going to go, we promote. And you're going to go, if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to go, we promote. But if you understand what this says, it says, we strategically place your home online. Unlike other companies, we receive all of the leads we get on your home because we pay for leads across all major listing sites. And we will highlight your home's value to help drive up the price. When somebody clicks on your home on Realtor.com, somebody who's interested, they plug in their information and it gets sent to some random real estate agent who's paying for Realtor.com leads. Not with us. With us, it goes directly to us, the listing agent, because we pay for leads. And who better to sell your home than the listing agent? Right? Okay. So understanding the slides like the back of your hand is super duper important. So practice it, role play it. It's good that you guys are here today and make you better. We'll practice it a little bit when we're done. So have the laminated slides, have the digital examples, know and use the marketing plan. Okay? This part's actually pretty easy. This part's pretty simple. If you know the slides, this part's actually, it might seem like the most nerve-wracking part because you're like, okay, so you tour around the house, and at the end of the tour, what you do is say, hey, where's somewhere we can sit where I can go over everything that I could do for you? And they're going to say, well, we can come over here. Or, hey, where's somewhere we can sit where, I can show you what it would look like to list with me? And they say, well, come over here. We'll go to the dining room, or we'll go to the family room, or wherever. Great. Now you pull this out. Now you're showing them what you're going to do for them. This is actually one of the easiest parts because it's something very predictable. It's something you're going to do a lot of, and it's usually pretty much the same every time. So this part's easy. This is the most nerve-wracking part, the close. At the end of presenting, let me go back here real quick. Bring with you a seller's net sheet. And CMA. So when you're at the listing appointments, you're bringing with you the slides, marketing plan, a seller's net sheet, and a CMA. You guys know what a seller's net sheet is? Okay.
The paper that shows you like how much money they would be getting out of the transaction.
Kind of. It's prepared usually by a title company, and I always have 3 of them. So if I'm going on a listing appointment, you usually don't know what price they're going to want to list at. So you say, you call up Sam from Infinity, or you call up Adelise from First American, or you can text them and say, hey, can you work me up a seller's net sheet for 123 ABC Street? I need 3 of them. 375, 400, and 425 sales price. My commission is going to be 6%. And they'll know exactly what to do, and then they'll text it or email it back to you, usually within a couple of hours. So you want to make sure you get on that right away. Don't do that at the last minute. Okay, so now the reason why we bring the seller's net sheet is because typically at some point, the seller's going to ask you what you charge or what, and you always flip it back to, well, at 375,000, here's what you walk away with. At 400,000, here's what you walk away with. At 425,000, here's what you walk away with. I do charge a 6% commission, but these numbers look good to you. The 6% commission is usually split between myself, the listing agent, and a buyer's agent. So that's why we bring the seller's net sheet, to take the attention off of what you're charging, because they don't really care what you're charging, right? They don't really care. They care what are they going to walk away with. That's what really matters. So, and then also bring a CMA. All right, now we get to the end of the presentation, okay? You get to the end of the presentation, it's time for you to ask them in no uncertain terms for the listing. So the phrase is I'd be honored to represent you in the sale of your home. Are you ready to get the process started by signing the paperwork today? And then they may say yes. They may say yes. Probably they're going to ask you some questions. Object. They're probably going to object. They're going to say, well, what do you charge? What do you charge? Well, actually, let me write this first. Always close. When I was your guys' age, I just started real estate, 19. And I was going on listing appointments, 19, 20, 21. Going on a lot of listing appointments. I was hustling. But nobody taught me how to close. So I had no idea what to say. And I didn't have the slides with me or anything like that. I would just go on the house. I would go on the appointments. I would tour the home. And I say, well, hey, let me know. See you later. And I'd walk out of there. And I probably missed out on hundreds over 3 or 4 years that I didn't know how to do this. I probably missed out on hundreds of listings because I didn't know how to close. Or when I first started to learn how to close, I was too scared to do it, or whatever my excuse was. Always close. I'd be honored to represent you in the sale of your home. Are you ready to get the process started by signing the paperwork today? All right, we're going to say it together. I'll say it first, and then you say it. I'd be honored to represent you in the sale of your home. Are you ready to get the process started by signing the paperwork today? Good. Always close. Always. Every single time. Even when you think you're not quite there. Even when you feel like you fucked it all up. Close. Because you just never know. The reason why you always close, number one, because you're going to better your chances, first of all. But number two, because when you close, you actually find out what they're really thinking. Because if you just leave it at, okay, well, let me know, and they're going to go say, all right, well, have a good one. You'll never know, number one, if they want to sign with you right now, if they're in a hurry. But also, you'll never know what's really holding them back. But if you ask them, I'm done representing the sale of your home. Are you ready to get the process started by signing the paperwork today? And they go, well, actually, we really need to figure this out first. Or, well, it depends on what you charge. Or, we talked to this lady down the street and, we're going to meet with her first. Or, my cousin's in real estate, he lives in Miami and, he said he would do it for us, Whatever the real objective, you'll never hear it if you don't ask for the close. You'll never have the opportunity to try to convince them if you don't ask for the close. Every single time, ask for the close. So the next part is rebuttals. Everybody knows what a rebuttal is? It's a counter to an objection. Yep. So they're going to hit you with some objections, and those objections may be, well, we want to try on our, specifically when we're talking about for sale by owners, because that's what we're doing today. Specifically when we're talking about for sale by owners, they may say, well, I don't want to pay a commission. That's usually the most common objection. I don't want to pay a commission. How do we handle that? What do you guys think? Let's do this first. What's the first step to handling any objection? Yes. To let them know you understand them. It's the first step. I understand I'm reframing. So the first step is understanding, telling them you understand, telling them you're listening to them, and you care about the way they feel. The second step is reframing how they think and sharing information and then closing again. Okay? So I don't want to pay a commission. Someone take a stab at it. Go ahead. Oh, okay, sure. I'll do it. You want to try it? You want to be the agent? I think you got it. You've been here for a few of these.
I understand you want to walk away with the most amount possible, so how I'm taking a look at this seller's net sheet, and this will show you, depending on what price you're going for, how much you walk away with.
Okay. Perfect. No, that was good. That's exactly what I was looking for. So when you respond with, hey, I understand wanting to make the most amount of money possible, that sentence is twofold. That sentence lets them know that you're listening, but it's also, you're already starting to reframe how they think about this, right? Because they don't even realize, they don't care about the commission. They don't care about it. What they really care about is making the most amount of money possible and walking away with the most amount of money possible, right? So in that sentence, you do two things. You show them you understand, and you're already beginning to reframe how they think. I understand wanting to make the most amount of money possible. That's a twofold. Let me write this down. Understand, reframe, share, close again. Understand want to make the most amount of money possible. Julie had a great point. This is why we bring the seller's net sheets. How much was it you said you needed to walk away with again? And they're going to say, 400,000. Not a dollar under 400,000. Not a penny less. You say, great, I totally understand that. So it looks like if we were to list at 425,000, you're walking away with $403,000. Now, what I always do, this is like a trick that you guys can use, and not a lot of people know this. Anyways, so when you bring the seller's net sheet, have the title company work it up at 6%. Have them work it up at 6%. Because now they're seeing this number and they're going, wow, that's a huge number. When you're there, you need to explain to them how this process works. Yes, it's a 6% commission of the total purchase price, but you're only going to pay that if I bring you an offer that you like and are willing to accept. So number one, you're only paying this if we get you an offer that you like. We're taking all the risk, and you only have to pay this at the closing table, out of the proceeds, and only if you accept an offer. So that's number one. But number two is, hey, last year in August, there were some big changes in the real estate industry. The NAR, National Association of Realtors, settled in a lawsuit that we no longer have to advertise a buyer's agent's commission. So on my side, I only charge 3%. We can either offer the buyer's agent's commission up front, not offer it at all, and negotiate it when they bring a buyer, or just not offer at all in general. But I promise you, more often than not, a buyer does not have enough money to pay their buyer's agent a 3% commission and pay their closing costs and pay their down payment and buy furniture for the house and pay their taxes and hire a moving company and do all that. So more than likely, you're going to have to pay somewhere between a 2 and a 3% commission. A 2 and a 3, I always say 3.5, so that way it doesn't make mine look like it's on the high end. You know, it makes mine look like a discount. Anyways, so anywhere between 2 and 3.5% you're going to have to pay to a buyer's agent. But we don't have to offer that up front. We can negotiate that later. How does that sound? What do you think of that? I'm going to say, well, no, you know, like I had this conversation, the exact conversation with 550 Michigan, which is the big listing I just got last week. They said, I gave them, they objected to my 6% commission. I explained to them this, that they don't have to offer it, and they go, well, what do you think? I'm like, oh God, I love when people ask me what I think. Great. So I think we offer it up front because it'll help you stand out from the competition. You offer a 2.5% commission up front. At very least, it doesn't turn anybody away. So 3% to me, 2.5% to them, 5.5% total. How's that sound? And they go, yeah, that sounds good. We trust you. Well, great. You're not always going to get that, but you guys understand? You can always, if they have a problem even after you reframe them to here's what you walk away with, they still have a problem with your commission, you can reframe again and say, well, I only charge 3% on my side. You don't have to offer a buyer's agent's commission, but I want to be upfront with you and tell you that 90% of agents and their buyers are going to, when they make the offer, ask you to pay their buyer's agent's commission. And that's usually between 2 to 3.5%. Do you want to offer it up front, or do you want to wait to negotiate it later? And they may ask you, well, what do you think is best? Or they may say, let's just do it without offering it, and we'll negotiate it later. But you want to make sure you explain to them, because you don't want to have a listing where you're not offering a buyer's agent's commission, because you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. I mean, you'd rather have a listing, but you want to make sure they understand that you're telling them more likely than not, they're going to pay a commission to a buyer's agent regardless. So it's going to be between 3 and 6%. Okay, moving on. I don't want to get too bogged down on that. So understand, reframe, share information, and close again. I understand wanting to make the most amount of money possible. That does kind of two things. I understand wanting to make the most amount of money possible. Here's the seller's net sheet that I worked up for you. What did you say you wanted to walk away with again? Oh, okay, so at this price, you're walking away with exactly what you wanted to walk away with. Let me share some information with you about the changes with the NAR last year in August. They said we don't have to offer a buyer's agent's commission. I only charge 3% on my side. What would you rather do? Would you rather offer it up front or wait to negotiate it later? So that is sort of like, you're kind of doing both of these. You're sharing the information and you're almost closing again. Okay, great. So if I did it for 3% and you walked away with $400,000, it's going to take me 3 to 5 days to get your property on the market. I know you said you wanted to do it quickly. If we sign the paperwork tonight and I can get a photographer out here on Monday, because it's Friday, and we list it for $425,000, would you be ready to get this process started so we can get you rolling into next week? So always close. Let me rewrite this. You want to better your chances? Always close again. I only do twice. Some people will sit there and they'll try and they'll try and they'll try and they'll break the most important thing, which is rapport. So you've got to always close once. Always try again. I stop at 2. If after 2 attempts, they're still not wanting to move forward at this point in time, I leave it. Because I don't want to break the most important thing, which is rapport. And I don't want to sit there and fight with them and bump heads and then be at this with them, right? So I always close twice because I feel pretty confident after especially if you get a really common objection that you've practiced a bunch of times, you'll feel really confident after reframing, sharing, that you'll want to close again because you've handled their objection. Now, chances are, I would say 80% of the time that you have a great conversation, you build a lot of rapport, and you feel like you did an excellent job with this appointment. 80% of the time, you're not going to get the listing. The first time. First appointment. 80% of the time, you're not going to get the listing the first appointment. So the next most important thing is follow-ups. 11 times at very least. At very least. 11 times. I forget who it was who did the study, but it showed that you shouldn't be expecting a contract with somebody until you've touched them 11 times. That's a phone call, an appointment, a phone call, a Zoom call, another appointment in person, a Facebook message, another appointment, another phone call, another phone call, another phone call, another text, another text. Yeah. I do it every single day, especially if they're a hot lead. Yeah, every single day. I know you're like, oh, but I don't want to be annoying. I had this $5 million listing I went on in Miami a couple weeks ago. Before I got the listing appointment, I followed up with him every single day. Text, email, call, every single day. Left him a voicemail. He wouldn't answer me. He blocked me. Seriously, he blocked me. I called him from Javier's phone. He answered, and then he hung up on me. I had somebody else call him from their phone. He answered. They were an investor, and, we maybe bent the truth a little bit, but for the right price, he would have bought the house, sure. Probably not $5 million, though. But he pretended to be an investor who was interested in his house, said he was working with me. This is all kind of true. And he said he said he was asking me questions about the property, and I told him I wasn't able to get a hold of him. And so I gave the seller his number. Anyways, we brought it back around. He agreed to meet. So he agreed. No, I'm sorry. He unblocked me after that. And then I called him and he answered again. And then we set the appointment to go out there. And then every day since I've been in the appointment, I've called him, texted him, emailed him. I'm going to send a letter to his house today. His wife is in the hospital. I'm going to write them I'm going to send them some flowers. This is like follow-up 50 or something, right? Obviously, this is a big deal. So I'm doing everything I can. Every single day, multiple times a day. It was a buyer lead who owns a home in Miami. The for sale by owner that I met with, I just sent him the listing. Did you send it yet?
Oh, I had a question about that.
Yeah.
Cancellation fee?
I'm talking about the listing agreement with. Yeah, 250. 250. So I technically don't have a listing agreement yet. I'm about to send it to him. I spoke to him on the phone. I texted him. I had a conversation on social media. I went on the appointment at his house. I talked to him on the phone afterwards. I spoke to him last night. He was texting back and forth with me this morning, and we jumped on a phone call just a little bit ago. That's 8 points of contact. I don't have the listing contract yet, but we're working on it. He agreed to it verbally over the phone. So we're at 8. Go ahead. Not typically, no. You can. You can. I don't bring it. Typically what I'll do is I'll email it to them beforehand. I will e-sign it to them. It just depends on where you're at. Everybody's different. Like if you're meeting with somebody older, you may want to bring it just in case. Because they may go, well, I'm not good at email or whatever. It's good practice to bring it with you. Yeah, just bring it with you. Always have one. They say you should always have a listing agreement and a offer contract with you at all times as a realtor in your thing. Everything's digitally nowadays, but it's still good practice because you just never know. And you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. All right. Just to recap, for sale by owners are the lowest hanging fruit. I promise you, you call them every day at 2, 3, 4 o'clock. I promise you, if you call them every day, you will have multiple appointments per week and you will get listings. Okay, you will get listings, I promise you. If you do it right. Tour the home, ask about the 4 major components. Most important thing is building rapport. Find common ground, listen to them, mirror them, and dig deep. Find out their motivations. When you're presenting, always have the slides. Bring a seller's net sheet into CMA. Always close. Always close. Starting now, even if you've never been on an appointment before, always close, every time. Ask for the listing. Handle the rebuttals. When you're handling rebuttals, you show them that you understand. You share information. You reframe, you share information, and then you always close again. Okay? If you're closing twice on every appointment, my bet's on you to do the most deals. My bets are on you. But keep in mind, don't get disheartened. It's all in the follow-up. It's all in your ability to persevere and to be persistent. That's what it's all about, persistence. People respect persistence. They just do. If you're the person who never quits and you're all over them and you do it in a, what's the word I always say? It's not kiss ass, but it's, schmoozing. Do it in that kind of way, you're going to win. You're going to win listings. You guys have any questions? Yeah.
So I had 2 good calls. So I had one lady that asked me.
Yep.
I tried to get the listing appointment. The woman, she's like, nah, not really.
Okay.
But there's another one. She's like a veteran. She wants to move to Jacksonville.
Nice.
I was asking her if I could get a listing from her. She was telling me no, this and that. She was saying she's had a realtor in the past where like he didn't do a good job. So I researched so I guess they listed for like 5 months.
Okay.
They got nothing sold. So
It's a common problem right now.
yeah. So how would I attack that one?
So are you using the script?
I was using the script.
Okay. I wouldn't come out and ask for a listing appointment.
No, I didn't ask for it.
Okay.
I asked, can I come and take a tour?
Got it. Okay, good. How would you approach that? How would I approach that? So she said she had a bad experience with the realtors. Say, hey, I understand, every industry has its bad apples. It's a tough market. And, here's the thing about me is we do things differently. It's not just me, it's my team, it's my broker. He's going to be, we work together to sell homes. One of the things that I take a lot of pride in, is my consistent communication with my clients. I will call you every single day. I will text you every single day if that's what you want with an update. I also schedule open houses every weekend. You've got to basically, listen, I understand the way you think. We do things differently. We know that that's one of the most common problems with real estate agents is the lack of communication. That's the most common issue when it was the NAR, when National Association of Realtors polled sellers on what was the thing that their agent could have done better. It was communication. 100%. Every time it was communication. So we know that that's the most common complaint amongst sellers and clients is the lack of communication throughout the process. So we have a system for doing things differently. I'm going to call you, as frequently as you want. I'm going to do open houses every single weekend. We're going to send you a weekly seller report every single week. Here's the thing, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, is I don't necessarily know that if you listing with me is a good fit for either one of us. I'm hitting them with a little bit of reverse psychology. I don't know if it's a good fit for either one of us. But let me tell you this. I get incoming buyer leads every month. And the thing that makes me stand out as a buyer's agent as well is that I work with off-market properties like yours. I'm starting to reframe the way they think. They're going, oh, my property is off-market. I work with off-market properties like yours. But before I share them with my incoming buyer leads, I always like to tour the properties first so I know what I'm working with. If I were to get you an offer on your home that you liked, would you sell it? Yeah, they're going to say yeah. Okay, great. Well, how about this? I'm just going to come tour the property. It'll only take me 15 minutes. I'd like to introduce myself to you, give you my business, my business card, my information, get to know the house a little bit, and it won't take very long. How does this weekend sound? You're just making it not a big deal. No strings attached, right?
So I tried that because I tried, I was saying, well, I want to buy maybe shoot some content for your house and something like that. And then she said, he's like, no, I could just send you a video of what I have. She sent me a video.
Yeah, you got to. So you're saying good things, but most people aren't going to want you to come shoot content at their house unless they're listing with you, right? So you need to make it about how you have these exclusive buyers. I have these, and it's true because you guys get the lead text, right? You get the text with the leads when they come through? You haven't gotten them yet? Can you check on him, make sure he's in there? Julie, you get them, right? Incoming buyer lead, and you have to claim it? It should be through your text. Unless you're not, maybe you're not, are you in Lofty? You signed up for Lofty? Okay, are you logged into Lofty on your phone? Oh, yeah. You too. Log into Lofty. Okay, we'll check on that right now. So the truth is you and your company, we get hundreds of incoming buyer leads every month, exclusive to us. And they don't know about your property, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, because your property is off market. The thing that makes me stand apart from other real estate agents is I work with properties that are on the market, but I also work with properties that are off the market like yours. But before I send them to my buyer leads, before I send them to my buyer clients, I always want to make sure I know what I'm dealing with. So I need to come familiarize myself with the property before I send it out. I don't have a buyer, they might, do you have a buyer now who wants to see it? No, I don't have a buyer now, but like I said, I get hundreds of incoming buyer leads every month to my team. And they may be looking for a house like yours. I won't know until I come see it. I won't know until I come see it. You following me? So now it's not about content or open houses, because some people will say, hey, I'll do an open house for you for free. It's like they're not there yet with you. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something you offer down the road. But on that initial phone call, it's all about this exclusivity to your network. And it's no strings attached. I'm just coming out there just to familiarize myself with the home. So that way, maybe, in the event that one of my buyers are interested, I can get you an offer. Would you be willing to pay a buyer's agent commission if I brought you an offer? Most for sale by owners off rip are already expecting to pay a buyer's agent's commission. Yeah, she'll say, oh, well, I'm willing to pay 2 or 3%. The guy the other day said, I'll pay you 4%. I'm like, dude, if you're going to pay 4%, and that's how, as part of my spiel to them, if you're going to pay 4%, just list it with me. So you make it about you just getting to know the property so you can present it to buyers. Yes, that is probably someone who's going to be difficult to work with. When you're calling for sale by owners, 7 out of the 10 people you talk to are probably going to be like a-holes. Probably going to be mean to you. Just because they've been called by 100 other real estate agents, whatever. But the other 2 or 3 are going to be pleasant to talk to. They'll be respectful. And one of them needs you and wants you. The other 2 are going to be like, and you'll have to nurture them. You'll have to follow up with them. You'll have to nurture them. But we're looking for that one. We're looking for that Kyle who is ready. He's a hot lead. They want to work with you. So that's who we're looking for. So, for these 2 people, and not every day you're going to be a winner when it comes to getting listings. You need to put them into Lofty under the for sale by owners segment. Have you done that yet? You did it. Good job, man. Give me knocks. Nobody does it. And it's one of the most important things you can do for your business. Because at the end of the year, let's just say you go on 2 a week for the rest of the year, that's 104 for sale by owner leads in your CRM. People who own homes and want to sell. And if you're doing this, You're following up 11 times, putting them on a nurture campaign, sending a mass text to them once a week. You think you're going to get, how many do you think you're going to get out of the 104? You're going to get something, probably a lot, because nobody else does that. Nobody else is putting them into Lofty. Nobody else is following up 11 times. Nobody else is jumping on Zillow every day at 3, 4 o'clock. I wish there was more agents here. I would ask them, how many of you jumped on Zillow in the last week? It's just going to be you guys, right? Did you jump on Zillow in the last week? See? It's as simple as just doing what luck is being at the right place at the right time. You might have looked at that call last week on Wednesday and go, oh, he's just lucky. It's not true, man. I've done this every day, every week for the last 10 years. I've been in the right place at the right time. So it's all it takes. You do the right things every day, you will get lucky. Any other questions? All right. I love Lewis. He's great. Lewis is great. Yeah, so Lewis was the one who called my my listing in Miami. Be careful, you know, you don't want to lie, you don't want to get caught in a lie. You know, the truth is would Lewis have bought that house in Miami if it were $500,000? Hell yeah, we'd have found a way. Not completely lying, right? But just be careful. Just be careful. Be transparent. So that's pretty much it in a gist. This is one part of your entire strategy for the year. Raise your hand if you want to be a top performer. Everybody wants to be a top performer. Raise your hand if you're willing to do the work consistently. Okay. It's right here. There's no excuses. It's laid out for you exactly what to do every day, every week. Keep coming to the trainings to perfect your craft. For you guys online, keep watching. All the courses are in school. You can always call me when you need help. Nothing to it but to go do it. So right now, today,